Today's episode is brought to you by the letter B for morning, everybody. How are you? You see my breath. Wow, it got chilly suddenly. The thing about having had all that rain, of course, all those clouds, they keep us a little bit warmer. So we've had this run of 3 days now with no cloud, the most beautiful blue skies, beautiful. But of course that does mean that the temperature has dropped somewhat, my goodness me. But it's dry. Well, that's a relative term, isn't it? Put it this way, there's no moisture coming down, but the ground's pretty wet. Anyway, it's not raining, so yay for some time in the garden today. Couple of jobs. Well, my first job is to do some harvesting. As I said the other day, I didn't do any harvesting at all because was feeling a bit wrecked. But the fridge is empty. I've got loads of stored stuff at home, of course I have, and plenty to make meals from. But I've been fantasising about all the green stuff that's out there, so I am going to have a big pick today. So I'm starting with harvesting in the shed. I've grabbed myself some onions. I have got a handful at home. Before I left this morning, I forgot to check how many, so I actually don't think I'll need more than a couple of each. I need to have some spuds. So this is one of my sacks of spuds. So I'll go through and bearing in mind what I'm planning to eat for the week. There's a combination of uses between having them to bake and then just having them to add to, say, the fasolada, some soups and things. So I'll get a couple of decent sized ones, 3 or 4 decent sized ones for baking, and then it's dusty from all the mud. And then with all these, let me show you some of these real tiddlers that I dug up. Can you see that? I'll use these will be perfect for one chop, boom, chuck them in, like I say, with either the fasolada or I've got a couple of soups planned. Oh, I can't, suddenly my brain's gone empty. I've got my shopping list, so I've written down everything I want, but I've forgotten what my actual menu list is. Yeah, let's have a couple more. Okay, so that's the harvest from inside the shed. The rest is out in the garden. Now the other thing I'm going to do today, I'm going to re-sow my broad beans, and fortunately I saved tons of seeds this summer. I've got a little bit of trepidation about doing it so late in the year. I'm in two minds. I mean, I am going to do it because I've got the seed, but I'm thinking, are they going to germinate at all now, or just rot in the ground? Would it be better for me to leave this until February and have a much later harvest than normal? Tricky. I think I've got some more seed at home, so I think what I do is I am going to re-sow today, and then I've got that little reserve I think at home, so if needs be I can re-sow in February, which would be a pain in the aspidistra. The whole reason for me doing my autumn sowing is to get an earlier harvest so I can get them out of that bed and get another crop in. Now, I'm pretty sure it's mice damage, so looking at the little holes, there are literally little teeny tiny holes less than the size of a 10p piece above each sowing station, so I'm pretty sure it's mice. So today I'm going to try something that I've heard about quite a lot. I've never tried it myself. I'm going to give it a go and see if it works. I'm going to re-sow, and then I'm going to use chili powder sprinkled around to hopefully put the mice off. Now, of course, the minute we get some rain, that's going to get washed away. So it may be that I need to do a repeat application. So I've brought a small amount along with me today. I've got a fantastic shop near me where I can buy really big bags of herbs and spices really quite reasonably. So if it looks over the next few days like it's working, as in the soil isn't disturbed, I might invest in one of those big bags so that I can reapply after the rain. The other thing I was going to try was peppermint oil, because I hear that works really well too. So my plan was to get some of the scraps of fabrics. I've always got some really, really tiny scraps that are pretty much beyond using. So the idea was to soak all these scraps in a load of peppermint oil and then just scatter those around the bed too. However, I went to look at my essential oil stash and realised I didn't have any peppermint oil at all, and the oil would cost more, quite a bit more, almost 3 times more than buying the chili pepper. So I thought, well, money's a bit tight at the moment, let's try the chili first, see if that works. I will, of course, report back to you, because you know, if it's going to work, it will be a really useful tool for us all to know about, those of us who have mice issues. Wow, it's chilly. I think I've brought my hat down just in case. It might be a hat today. It may be that once I get moving, I won't need it. So, first things first, let's go and do a week of harvesting. For anyone in any doubt about it being chilly here, look at this. Is a gravel tray that I'd left abandoned the other day. Look at that. It's actually really rather beautiful, isn't it? Oh, I've made glass. Shall I replace my cold frame window with it? I'm not sure that it would work. I love how it's frozen around my plant labels. It's really rather beautiful. I could get very distracted by this. But I mustn't. Let's get harvesting. Right then, let's get picking. So, when I planted my savoys, I did pack them in here. It's kind of intentional. The idea being that I will harvest alternate ones, and then where that gap is, that gives these guys a little bit of space to grow. I don't need them to be huge because it's just me that's going to eat them, but that will definitely do. Yes, thank you very much. And these outer leaves, which aren't so beautiful, I will quite simply shred, comme ça, and they can be dumped into one of my bean trenches. What's next? Chard while we're in this bed. I definitely feel like Margot today. That scene in The Good Life, when the rain has come and they're all pitching into harvest and she's sort of tiptoeing with one bean at a time. It's very soggy underfoot. Soggy and slippery. A few of each colour, I think. Let's pick a rainbow. Pick a rainbow. Eat a rainbow. Oh, a couple more, I think. That'll do. And also, while we're here, a couple of beetroot. Cool. That's a biggie. found, oops, a little friend next door. Oh, that's had quite a bit of damage. So I might, yeah, I think I'll grab one more in case by the time I've cut into this one, there's not much left because of damage. But that will do me. I'll tell you what, I'm cooking with all these in a second. Right, where's next? Celery, broccoli and kale. Come on. Whoopla. Squelch, squelch. Now, I actually want loads of celery. Whoops. Pole up my bum. So, what I'm thinking, I'm almost thinking about taking a whole plant out. Shall I? We'll have a lot of it out. So I want a whole load for cooking, and I'm going to try have my first go of drying some. I've been mentioning it for ages, so I need to just get around to giving it a go. Now, I don't have a dehydrator, so what I'm thinking is just see if I can get some to dry by simply hanging it in air, or possibly if I've used the oven to roast something, put the oven in afterwards and use the residual heat. But that's a nice little bunch. Okay, where's next? Kale. Various kales. When you come to plan your garden for next year, if you're at that stage yet, I'm not quite. I normally do my plan, probably not till about January, but if you're starting to think about it now, starting to do some planning, if you're a bit short of space, I only have a half plot here, some people have even less, it's well worth thinking about vegetables which you can use as a cut and come again vegetable. In other words, you harvest a couple of leaves here and there, you leave the plant and it keeps coming back for you. So the Cavolo Nero, beautiful example of that. When I harvest, I will take literally just a couple of leaves from each plant, leave the plant in to carry on doing its thing. Exactly the same with scarlet. I don't need quite as much scarlet, but let's have maybe one from each plant. The chard is exactly the same, 1 or 2 leaves per plant, leave it in, keeps growing. Celery, exactly the same. Beautiful, a beautiful bouquet. You know what, I would put that in a vase, it's so gorgeous. Right, squelchy squelchy. Next row, I'm going in for some calabres. Whoopla! I don't go flying first. Ow. Gorgeous. Now, when it comes to harvesting your beautiful calabres, broccoli heads, just take the head out. I think I'm going to have 3. I'm just checking for ones which have been obviously growing a bit longer and are threatening to blow, i.e. go to flower. Oh, I can't resist one more. Yeah, just take out the heads, because lovely. What you'll find now is in all the little axils of the leaves, you should get some secondary sprouting going on. They'll be much smaller, much smaller, but you will get more sprouts, so you can harvest all of those. And then when they're all done, you can harvest and use the leaves. Fantastic. Okay, now for a bit of digging, I think. I'm a bit worried for some of the carrots where they've been jumping out of the ground that there's going to be damage on them from slugs and the like. What I'll do, I'll just make sure I pick enough so that if I have to cut out damaged bits, no, you can stay in, then it'll still leave me with enough carrot to use. Now we'll leave you. Let's have you. Will you come out with the tug? Oh no! Pulled your top off and that's it. Oh dear. Come on. Oh, a little stubbly knobbly. Ah, that one's split. Splitting is usually a sign of erratic watering. I want this big one. Out you come. Oh, it's a chunky monkey. Oh, that's like 3 for the price of 1. I think that will do for the cooking I've got in mind. Oh, massive split. Now what I'm wondering is, shall I try 1 parsnip? Yes, I think I will. Let's go and try a parsnip. I have absolutely zero idea how these were done. There's only one way to find out. Gosh, this ground is really, it's very, very wet. Maybe I should get out my fork. Oh yeah, can you see those crowns appearing? Yeah, I think this is a fork job. Let me go and get a fork. All the parsnips this year were, oh no, I beg your pardon, this row is tender and true. An old favourite. Now, the lovely Steve, also known as Digwell Green Fingers, hello Steve, he has a fab technique for getting out his parsnips and carrots, where he pushes on them and then pulls and they come out. I've tried that a few times on mine and they just won't come out, and I think it's this incredibly thick clay. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can give you a closer up look at this. There we go. Wow. That is very pleasing. Oh, I'm so happy. Let's have a look at your little sister down here. You can see, look at the state of my soil. That is clay soil. Oh, she's not too bad either. What a pair of beauties. Absolutely gorgeous. That is really pleasing on such heavy clay soil. And really pleasing after my disastrous non-harvest last year. It just shows, doesn't it, how one year things can fail completely and then the next they're great. One year you can have great success with something and then the next year it's a total fail. Now that I've done 2, of course, like with all root crops, I want to dig the lot out and have a look at them all. But I shan't. I need to get home and do some cooking. Happy days. Right, let's get this lot back to the shed and start cleaning it up a bit. What a happy sight. What I love is, here we are in December, it's really cold, but look at the colours, aren't they gorgeous? I know some of the colours aren't showing because of mud, but I'm basically going to be eating orange, red, pink, purple, various shades of green all week. Wonderful. So I'll just tell you quickly what I've got planned to do with this lot, combined with some of the things I've got at home. So, as I said back at the beginning, I've grabbed a couple of these big spuds. They'll be for baking. The smaller spuds will be added to fasolada and possibly a couple of soups for a bit of thickening. So in my potatoes, because at the moment I'm trying not to buy anything at all, trying to save a few quid. So normally with a baked potato, I love cottage cheese or any kind of cheese. But in the absence of that, I will take some of the beans from the summer, either some of the dried ones or the ones that I froze demi-sec. I think I'll probably try it with the coco souffle. What I'll do with the beans and with a portion of the tomatoes, so muddy, and a portion of the tomatoes, is to make a sort of quite a thick tomatoey, beany, stewy type thing. I'll chuck other odds and ends in there as well. And then I'll make a massive, massive pot of that, enough to last the whole week, so that then I can have that in a baked potato with, as a side, some sort of greens, so either the cavolo kale or the scarlet kale or some of the cabbage. But I'll probably have that maybe 2 or 3 nights this week. That'll be yummy. Then with that tomatoey, beany stew that I make over the course of the week, just to change it up a bit, I could take a portion and add some curry spices to it, or just simply a bit of chilli, just to change up that taste a bit. Can't wait, I'm getting salivating at the thought. So with the carrots, I'm going to use those. I'll use a big one, the big one, with some of the potatoes, some stored tomatoes, some stored beans, to make one of my favourites, which is fasolada. The recipe for that is in a previous video. With the other carrots, I'm going to combine them with some celery and some lentils to make one of my absolute favourite soups, my celery, lentil and carrot soup. There's a video for that too. There's a video for that. There's a video for everything nearly. With the broccoli, to be honest, I'll probably nibble on that raw. That's probably going to be a sort of a mid-morning snack over the next couple of days. The chard I will cook down again with some beans, probably some of the gigantes, to make that gorgeous charred bean sort of stewy casserole thing. Thought I heard a cat, I didn't. That will be another sort of 4 meals. Probably, well, almost certainly everything I make, I'll make in terms of, it'll be a batch that's enough for 4 meals, apart from when I bake an individual spud. But what that means is whatever I make, I can put a couple of portions in the freezer, have them either later this week or next week, or one of those days when I haven't got the energy or the time to cook, have 2 portions this week. And then the beetroot right down here on the front, you see them? Oh, can't wait for this. This is completely new to me. I'm going to have a go of making some beet burgers. So it's a combination of, I'm just looking behind you because up the path is coming George. Hello, little boy. I haven't seen him for ages. Well, not up close. Anyway, I'll cuddle him in a second. So yes, I'm going to try a mixture of the beetroot and beans to make some beet burgers. And what'll be interesting for me, at least, I hope it will be for you because I'm going to film it, is I'm going to follow a recipe. Now, I rarely use recipes, partly because I'm such a simpleton. I'm a simple soul. My food is so simple, I don't need a recipe. I just chuck things in a pot, see if it works. If it works, I'll do it again. But earlier this year I was very kindly given a couple of the recipe books by Jack Monroe, a girl called Jack, and I've been having a browse in them, and I saw this beet burger recipe and I thought, oh, I'll give that a try. It's completely new to me, but it'll be fun also to see what life is like when you actually follow a recipe. Who knows? So that will be later in the week. And then finally, I've just taken these 2 parsnips out. Well, now, normally I'd think soup because it's quick and easy, but because I'm going to have the oven on at various times, I'll have the oven on to do my baked potato. Probably when I bake this potato, I will do the chard and gigantes because that has a bake as well. And just thinking like the frugal girl that I am, I try to only put the oven on once a week. Just to, you know, obviously it saves a few pennies, doesn't it? So if I'm going to bake a spud, bake my chard and beans at the same time, and why not bake my parsnips at that time too, and either have them as roasted baked parsnips, or once they're roasted I can set them aside and then make them into a soup, because roasted parsnip soup, oh mon dieu, it's fabulous. So, and the other thing, like I was saying, one of two things. I might have to go and get some more now. I was saying with the celery that I'm going to use it for the carrot soup. I'm also going to try drying some. So again, that day when I do put the oven on, when all these things come out, just spread the celery in there. Oven's turned off now, but spread the celery in there and use some of that residual heat to hopefully help them dry out a bit, leaving the door open just a smidge to let any moisture escape. But the other thing I want to try with the celery, which I've never done, is to make a straight celery soup. I think I'll leave that till next time. I think there's enough cooking here for me to do for one day. Goodness me, can't wait. I cannot wait. Just look at the colours and I'm excited to eat it all. I'm hungry. So, time's run out for today's video, so I'm going to do the broad beans and the chilli in another video. I've also ended up catching up with a couple of other pot holders this morning for ages, which meant I got a bit cold because I was sitting still and chatting. So I think for now I'm going to call it cheerio on this lot. I'm going to get home. George is down here. He's right just down at the edge of my chair. So yes, I'm going to say cheerio for now. Get this lot home, get cooking, but before I do any of that, I'm going to see how close I can get to George today. So far we've got as close as a couple of little ear tickles. I really want a big fat cuddle from him. So until I see you next time, happy harvesting in your gardens, happy experimenting in the kitchen, just chuck things together. Just enjoy that inspiration that these beautiful colours give you. I can't wait. Can you tell I'm excited? Right, I'm off. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you all again really soon, I hope.